And hello everyone, welcome to episode 28 of my Bloodborne effective run. Today we're going to be going through Cathedral Ward, and there is a lot of strange lore that I am semi-familiar with and also really good at speculating on, but also probably groundlessly. Not really sure what these guys are doing here, but I guess they're the watchdogs for the area. But we're going to come across a enemy that's a reference to a later boss. I'm going to go ahead and spoil that boss's name when we come across it. Here it is. They are like a really tiny version of Ebritus. And they have some of the same properties. They have the slug-like feature in the back, and they appear to be growing the head crown similar to Ebritus. I'm under the impression that the college came across Ebritus, but they could have potentially bred her. The choir, I should say. I hope I said the choir. Anyway, I'm under the impression that the choir came across the Abritus. And then maybe these are Abritus's children. And this would also imply a connection not only for Canehurst to Adela, but also to the choir, because her unfortunate child situation was one of these things. Watch out, they will frenzy you. That's how they're dangerous, if they get a little hit in. And here we have Great Lake, which I believe is the only lake rune that is not by a body of water. At least I can't find one. But yes, back on that subject. So now we kind of get the implication that Adela was experimented upon by the choir, or came in contact with them and somehow was impregnated with a Great One baby, such as one of these guys. I'll have to look up the name and put it in here. Okay, I put it up on the screen here. It seems they have two names, Celestial Child and Celestial Larvae. So yeah, that really goes back into the implication that I had with it being potentially a child of Abritus, or them trying to recreate Abritus somehow. Similar to how the Roswells are made in an attempt to commune. Although that gets connected here as well. As far as I'm aware, the choir is the final splinter group in the Bergenworth to Old Church to Mensis and everything. So the choir and the Mensis group had a very similar approach. It's just I think the choir had a little bit more success in going in a slightly different direction, rather than exploring dreams within the mind and hosting them in alternate realities, of actually communing and meeting a Great One in reality, or maybe recreating one, similar to how Bergenworth created the Rom, the vacuous spider. I wish we could get that scythe. I do. But it's not a trick weapon, but it's still pretty cool. And here we have the scary enemy in here. There's a lot of these guys in here. I'm going to be doing something a little tricky so that we never have to face two at once. And if you go through the area normally, you will have to face two at once. So they're still part of the Healing Church, and they've continued the work that began at Bergenworth. So they are officially of the Healing Church, and I guess Lawrence was like, yo, Bergenworth was onto something. Let's have our own version of that. And they finally got the edge of that. Where Mensis, I'm very sure, is a splinter group. Over to the right here, we got ourselves a nice drop with no catches at all. Nothing's going to happen. Just kidding, there's a werewolf going to come out. Now, at the very beginning of the run, I selected the cane as my primary weapon, and this is exactly why. This is the place I'm going to use it. So anybody who's having trouble with this encounter or getting those keys, you can just cheese the encounter like this. and now you have the orphanage key with which to rummage. Outside of doing it that way, I think you need Molotov cocktails or daggers or something to try to attract them one at a time. But I haven't really had much success in that. This is a speedrunning trick. And it does the job. It makes this area so much easier. A lot of you skip half of it basically, but there are still 2 things that are important that we want. So we're going to go through the whole area to make sure we get those 2 things. We want a badge and we want a jester. And I'm sure you're thinking, well, jesters are just cosmetic. Why would you want a jester? Well, actually in Dark Souls 3 that is proven not true. And here in Bloodborne, there is an important gesture as well. So like in Dark Souls 3, there's the Way of the Dragon, which allows you to access an alternate area. This gesture doesn't really give you the ability to access an alternate area, but it is the key required for the final moon rune, as it allows us to communicate the idea of right angles, I guess, to great ones. Here's where the onset of fear really starts for me. They do a really good job with the music and everything, and when they have the chandelier shaking like that with your first time coming through, I find I really actually get this sense of ongoing dread while going in here. I mean, it's very minute as I've played the game several times, and as far as fear is concerned, it's definitely more comfortable fear than I have in other areas, but I definitely just feel nervous the whole time while I'm in here. They've done a really good job with the atmosphere. And that being said, I'm not a big fan of horror games, ironically enough, or anything horror related, but this is probably one of my favorite areas in the game, especially late game. Just sense of dread. Now this is also the best chunk farm, so to speak. I say that in quotes. Chalice dungeons ultimately are the best chunk farm, especially if you can find a Chalice dungeon that the first boss drops a chunk. That is, you know, the most efficient way of gathering chunks. But if you don't want to do Chalice dungeons, and we don't do it in this particular playthrough, you will find yourself at a loss for getting them. So you could equip the eye rune, level a little bit in arcane if you want to really do it. And do that. Since we've already got the key, I'm going to go ahead and unlock the shortcut. If you don't have the key yet, you're not going to be able to open this door. Now, I have pulled it off where I had a friend going through this area, and I decided to run to this point and stand on the opposite side of the door. And when I got summoned in, I did in fact get summoned on the other side of the door. Now that was really early game. Very early in patches. So I'm not really sure if that's still possible today to basically bypass the level by doing that. But it was pretty fun to see if that was possible. Unfortunately, no footage on my end of that. And I was only able to do it the one time. Guys are all over the place. So the Cosmic Eye Watcher badge basically gives us unlimited access to bolt paper and, well, we might already have unlimited access to bolt paper, but it gives us unlimited access to, more importantly, beast blood pellets. And that is the that is one of the big reasons to come here, especially if you're not doing a farm, if you're not planning on doing any farming, like I am. Now this is a trap, so that guy, that Wandering Madness is programmed to run the other way. I just got lucky and he ran at me to get you to run into this room. But what have we had behind every corner? Cthulhu. We've had Cthulhu behind every corner. I know it's not actually Cthulhu for anybody getting angry, but that's my particular knowledge of Lovecraftian horror is Cthulhu. That's pretty much it. So I call everything octopus-faced Cthulhu. This is anorexic Cthulhu. So here's where you can go fight the 2 brain suckers and potentially get the key. And then here's the shortcut to get to them quickly. Unfortunately, there still is a brain sucker in the way. My suggestion is to stealthily hide behind this like you're playing Deus Ex, Mankind Divided, or Uncharted. And then when they get close enough, charge an R2. You'll see how effective that is in just a second here. Didn't stand a chance. Now, if this is your first time going through here, be prepared to lose a lot of insight. They're going to get you a lot. If you follow me exactly, it might mitigate the issue. I get lucky here. I'm able to get the encounters very favorably in the direction I want them. The blue-eyed werewolves have all the same rules as the other werewolves in that they flinch about every move that you hit them with. So, you know, if you are fighting them and having any trouble, just wail on them. Ironically, they are dropping bloodstone shards as well, which kind of surprised me that their minimum drop wasn't twins. But I do promise these guys do have well, I don't get a chunk. These guys do have a very promising rate of chunks in the base game. So if you only have the base game, you know, by the time I go into the DLC, you'll be pretty set, and we're getting close to that point anyway. So luckily, we've already killed the one far over there by the door, so we only have to deal with this brain sucker, and it allows us to sneak up behind him and do this. If we don't kill the other brain sucker early on, this is a trap. He's facing the wrong way on purpose to try to get you to walk over, and this guy with the item will run around behind you, grab you, and suck your brains out. Finally, final shortcut. Though, at this point, if you're able to open this shortcut, it's probably not that useful to you. And here we get, while not the coolest gesture or the best gesture, we probably get the most important gesture in Bloodborne. You think this guy was scarred by the Great Ones? Or like burned by the knowledge thrown at him when he finally communed? So make contact, as implied, is a gesture intended to make contact with, specifically in this game, Great Ones, Old Ones, or anything like that. Mbasa, if you want. Basically, Dylan kind of explains that it's the understanding of right angles, and then we can basically tell if a creature is intelligent based on that. But I don't know. We'll see. But based on that idea, when your arms finally do move, you have made the communication. Like that. This is also affectionately referred to as the YMCA emote, and many other things. But you know, and it's a fun one too. It is fun to just play chicken with people like an invader and just do that emote and see if they'll do it with you. If you're just wanting to mess around. But yeah, that's pretty much it for what we've come here to do. So we've gotten everything we've wanted. We've pretty much cleared out the sector. It's a short level similar to Bergenworth. It's a little bit longer overall. But yeah, that's pretty much this section. So now that we have that emote, we're going to go back to Murgo's Loft, or you know, the Nightmare of Mensis, the lower level, and we're going to go pay a visit to the Frenzy Machine, and we're going to try to make contact with it and see what that does for us. You will notice a change in what's the word? A change in the amount of blood echoes I have, and in the insight amount I have. And that's because I actually went and did this well after fighting a few bosses, but I thought it was important to go ahead and show now. So I rearranged the clip, and this is the order I would recommend doing that in. And I'd actually recommend doing this, like this episode, the things we do in this episode, before doing the side quests galore in the previous episode. Like, maybe immediately after you get the +10 weapon, you should go do the Upper Cathedral Ward like we just did, and then come here. So that way, if you want to farm, and this is only if you want to farm echoes, but if you want to farm echoes, we can get the maximum, benefit out of our time this way. Because this will allow us to stack 3 moon runes, for instance. And we're about to get the greatest moon rune, but first we got to go down dark into the Artorias abyss, so to speak. Luckily, we don't need his ring to survive it, though. It's such a long elevator. It's kind of weird. Like you can see the bottom of the level there, but I guess it's implied that it's just so dark down here. There's nothing you can see, or I'm not really sure if you are in an abyss. It's impossible to see, but and I'm not sure if you can run off of the level or not. I've never really tried. It might have invisible walls that just prevent you from going too far. But here's our friend Cinnamon Toast Crunch. And we're going to make contact with him. Listen to that heartbeat. It's actually kind of soothing. Despite the horrifying monstrosity in front of us. Unfortunately for him, he can't do anything. He's just a brain and eyeballs with an attached arm that has ligaments and muscles, but not enough to do anything with. So he's currently down here just dying. And there is our level 3 moon rune. So you can just leave him at that. Or I personally think he's like in a personal miserable hell. Look at how many eyeballs he has, and he can't see anything besides us. So I think it's the more technically humane thing to go ahead and put him out of his misery. Not that you need to do that. It's also a fascinating way to see how quickly this can build up. But anyway, he'll also give us an important item called Living String, which is good for Chalice Dungeons in the higher level versions. But I wanted to thank you for watching episode 28 of my Bloodborne Effective Run. I hope you all are staying safe, and you have a wonderful day. Thank you for watching.